Welcome to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprofit.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we're talking Week 2 NFL action. We got a bunch of games today. We're going to go game by game here, talk about the fantasy relevant players in each of them, whether good or bad, and, what stood out today and anything. Maybe we learned something, so we're just going to jump right into this thing. Well, Jeff, let's just talk about first one on our list. I guess not the most exciting one, but 49ers Bengals. And I'm not sure what we learned in this other than, I guess the 49ers are better than we expected. The Bengals are a lot worse than we expected. That's, I guess, one takeaway. But let's just start with 49ers side. They can run the ball a little bit here.
Yeah, I absolutely love what the 49ers can do. And I actually do. I'm kind of buying into them as a team. The issue I have, because right away you can talk about all the different people that run the ball, right? We're talking about Breida, we're talking about Mostert, and we're talking about Wilson. All three of them look good with the ball in their hands, but I think that is also technically the downfall. I think Breida is the best one. I think he is a legit running back. I'm really excited to see him going. If I wanted one of them, he would definitely be it. But Wilson got 2 touchdowns. Mostert looks like he is maybe the most deadly with the ball as far as big playability. And Breida just seems like the best combination of all of them. And he made a few juke moves that were amazing. But when they're all performing like this, it's very difficult to figure out which one you want to play, even though today every one of them would have been fine. But that's not going to be most days, I would assume.
No, and I think you can start Breida every week. Mostert, it's hard to say you can't with how he's played 2 weeks in a row. He looks really good. I wouldn't really trust that yet. I get one more week of it and I'd be like, yeah, I guess throw him in your lineup, right? I just need one more of it and you could, but Breida can play. Mostert is close. And then, Wilson you're not playing even with the 2 touchdowns. He's not as good as the other two, but carry-wise, he was right there. But I think a lot of that was more towards the end, when they're up by a lot.
You just worry too. What if they really decide to put Wilson in as more of a short yardage guy? Right? It would make it so difficult to figure out who is going to do what.
And then I say the receiving game, Deebo Samuel looked pretty good there. Second game at rookie there. He's an interesting one.
Actually, this is a question that I wonder. Right, and he looks good. Marquise Goodwin looked pretty good. Mostert in the receiving game looked good. My question is, with everyone doing so well, and maybe this will not continue, but it seems right now that this is a true team offense. Does this actually, how do you feel about Kittle moving forward? Because there's so many more mouths to feed all of a sudden, where he was definitely by far number one on the depth chart.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is I don't think the volume is going to be there anymore. Like, he was so successful last year because he just got so many catches. And they don't need to force feed him the ball right now with the way the offense is working. So why would they? Last week he had 8 for 54. This week 3 for 54. So that's in 2 games, 11 catches for 108 yards, no touchdowns. That's not great. Standard scoring is only at 10.8 points in 2 games. So they don't need him to get the ball every time to be good. And that is worrisome if you're a Kittle owner, I think. Don't freak out yet, but it's a bit of a worry. Then, how about the Bengals side? Really, not a lot. Mixon was hurt coming in. I don't know if I'm going to buy or read into it too much. They got down. They couldn't really run the ball. Again, it's a little scary. He hasn't done much yet, but I wouldn't read too much in it for Mixon this week. But on the receiving side, Tyler Boyd, 10 for 122. Really solid. And he was clearly the main guy over John Ross. Yes, John Ross's numbers look good at the end of the day, but he got a 66-yard touchdown catch under a minute left in garbage time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the one thing to remember. If you didn't end up watching the game, I know a lot of people probably did not. Don't look at Ross and say, oh my gosh, because the last 2 weeks he's impressed. He has done better and he is healthy. That's what we wanted to see. He is definitely to put him on your roster, but he's still not there where you can really believe in him week in and week out. But Tyler Boyd is the real deal, and this is what I was hoping to see from him as he climbed so high in our rankings after AJ got hurt. because we know that he's capable of this. But 10 receptions on 10 targets, and last week he was very efficient as well. He's a real deal. I'm starting him in all formats every week because I know I can count on him. And the TDs will start coming, obviously, too.
And then how about the Lions beat the Chargers 13-10? Hey, the Lions got to win. They're 1-0-1. This is a game the Lions normally don't win, so I felt pretty good about that. And I'll say on the Lions side of things here, Stafford's looked decent through 2 games. He's actually becoming he's a fantasy option again, at least. Last year he wasn't an option. This year he's on the radar, Not starting now, but at least he's on the radar when bye weeks come around. But then Kerryon Johnson didn't get much going on the ground game, but luckily he got that touchdown catch, 36-yard touchdown. So makes his day very respectable. But Galladay looked like a number 1 today. 8 for 117 and a touchdown. Love to see that.
He did. I would say that, yeah, Kerryon, that's good. I mean, where you draft him, that's where you're kind of hoping for. And it's good to see him in, both sides of the ball. Galladay, that's the big story, I think, in this one, is the fact that you can actually start looking at him the way we were trying to draft him. He was kind of in that gray area where you weren't really sure. And after game 1, and right now they only scored 13 points in this game, and he was still able to do a stat line of 8, 117 and a touchdown. That speaks very highly of him. But I think the other one in my mind that really stands out is the fact that from week 1 to week 2, Hawkinson has been, very up and down, obviously, 1-1, but the fact that he was only targeted 3 times after that huge week 1, that is, I don't know. Obviously, it's a rookie, so you kind of expect this to happen. But I think a lot of people were hoping, I was hoping, but a lot of people were expecting Hawkinson to be a week in, week out starter. Which, what are your views on him right now?
It's going to be up and down like that. It's just a rookie tight end. I think that's what it's going to be. If you are counting on him to be your starter now, I think you still put him in your lineup. But, hey, these games are going to come. If we see another one like this next week, then we got to be like, oh, okay, maybe we should reevaluate, not jump him up so much like we did. But I think he's going to be fine. I really do. I'm not going to read too much into it. Then, was the Chargers side of the things here, Austin Eckler, he puts numbers up, The yards per carry wasn't great, but he gets a touchdown and gets 6 catches for 67 yards. He's effective, very effective. And Justin Jackson, though, if he actually got a chance to ever get the ball a lot, I think he would be too. He has been pretty impressive, though, in his limited amount of carries so far.
He has. Eckler has been the guy, but I think that's the question is, Eckler has been good enough to hold off Justin Jackson for now, even though he went 7 carries for 59 yards. I guess that's the question is, like, as soon as Eckler, if he ever has a down game, do you expect, is that when the change of the guard could possibly happen? I don't mean like Justin Jackson taking over, but him stealing a few more carries where at least in the rushing game, it becomes Justin Jackson, 10 carries and Eckler 12 or something, or 15.
It could happen any week. It wouldn't surprise me. I think it's just game flow with them. In 1 week, Jackson could be the guy, and he just starts to get more of the work. It could easily happen. I guess sometimes Jackson's line's a little deceiving because he did have a 40-yard run, so his other 6 carries were only for 19. But he's been pretty good. He has over like 116 yards on 13 carries this year, so he's been really, really solid. And then receiving wise, Keenan Allen, if he got a touchdown with that line of 8 for 98, it's a great game. Without it, it doesn't look as impressive in standard scoring, but 15 targets, he's clearly the guy. Mike Williams isn't that. Mike Williams is just going to be the big play guy, it looks like. Yeah, big play guy, maybe some red zone guy. That's where we're looking.
And I truly don't know. I think, we obviously, the Lions had their best cornerback on Keenan Allen. He was still able to go out there and catch 8 targets, obviously the last one being intercepted that kind of solidified the game. But Keenan Allen is by far their main guy. But I do wonder if Mike Williams will be implemented a little more and more each time, because he only caught 3, but he caught 3 of 5, and the ones he did was very impressive. He is definitely a good wide receiver. So I'm kind of holding my breath. I'm not like ready to completely back off on my Mike Williams love, because I truly do think that he is probably the most talented wide receiver they have, especially for in the red zone. and the deep ball. I think Keenan Allen, you can't really touch him as far as route running or the shorter distances, but they're going to need Mike Williams if they want to win games because they only put 10 points up, and I know Detroit is not the best defense. They're probably middle of the road. So they're going to be looking to correct that. And I think Mike Williams might be the key because Eckler did well. Keenan Allen did well. How do you improve? You go to your big play guy.
Then Vikings, Packers win 21-16. Kirk Cousins isn't really any good. He's not very good. I'd say that.
I don't know what happened to him. I truly
don't. He just isn't very good. Dalvin Cook, though, is good.
And, for the people that asked me why we're still on the Dalvin Cook train in the preseason, yeah, exactly. And I said, if he stays healthy, he's one of the most talented backs in the NFL. And, it's very few times that they come out in weeks 1 and 2 and kind of prove you right. But I don't think that there's, after these 2 weeks and these 2 performances, that anyone should doubt this.
Yeah,
ever.
Cook, 191 total yards and a touchdown. That's awesome. That's an amazing game. 20 carries, 7.7 yards per carry. Yeah, he had a 75-yarder in there, but he still made the other ones worthwhile. With a team that couldn't pass the ball. So there was no threat of the pass there. I mean, Thielen, 5 for 75. If you're a Thielen owner, you're kind of disappointed. Diggs, he salvaged it because it was a 49-yard touchdown. That's, he did get a shorter touchdown, like a 4-yarder, got called back early on. So he almost had 2 catches and 2 touchdowns, but hey, at least he got that touchdown, I guess. And then Kyle Rudolph, 3 for 9. Ugh. That's put him on the waiver wire, please.
Yeah, what are you thinking about right now as far as the receivers? You're talking Thielen and Diggs. Are you looking to unload them? Are you panicking yet? Or are you just holding true because you don't know if you can get value?
I think I'm just holding because I don't think you get the value. I really don't. I don't think you get value there, so I just hold them and just hope for the best. Hope Cousins figures out how to throw the ball.
All right. On the other side with the Packers, can we talk one more guy that we loved and people kind of really were down on us? Aaron Jones. 23 carries, 116 yards, and a touchdown. I feel a little vindicated. He also threw in 4 catches for 34 yards. I want to see it again, obviously, because we want to make sure this is the real thing. But Aaron Jones looked the part as we were hoping and as we were predicting. So this game was kind of just us feeling good about ourselves.
I told people that he's going to struggle week 1. Just don't worry about it. He'll be fine, right? And he was. And I kind of even like seeing that. 5 yards per carry, but his long was only 15. So, he didn't just like bust one huge run and that, made his yards per carry and his yards go way up. It was just a good, solid game for him. And I'd like to see that. And then Devontae Adams was good. 7 for 106. Didn't get a touchdown, but he's just solid. Geronimo Allison, Valdez-Scantling. Allison did get a touchdown, but they're just not becoming the big second option right now. So, and then Jimmy Graham was non-existent. 2 targets, nothing.
Yeah, this was, that's kind of, they got the win, but this was the kind of the worry. All offseason, you were really wondering who's going to be that second guy, Allison or MVS. And right now they're kind of neck and neck. They're kind of the same thing at the moment. I think they kind of teeter-totter. And right now I have no idea who it's going to be going forward. So I'm not going to believe in either of them. I go for Aaron Jones. You go for Adams and obviously Rodgers, but I'm leaving the rest. I'm not going to try to predict it.
Then Colts beat the Titans 19-17. Brissett had 3 touchdown passes, but he's still just not fantasy viable. Only 146 yards rushing or throwing. He's going to be good enough to keep them in games. He's just not good enough to consider for your fantasy team. Then Marlon Mack, 20 carries, only 51 yards today after last week's big week, which is kind of disappointing, but it's going to... Marlon Mack's not an elite running back. You're going to get games like this. Christian McCaffrey did this the other night. Nothing. There's going to be bad games. Wilkins looked good because of his 55-yarder.
Right. But I like the fact that they didn't go away from him. Like, he was struggling, and they kept giving him the ball. 20 carries when you're only averaging 2.6 and your long is 10. That they were just grinding it out, and they needed to. Obviously, they got the win, 19-17. But it was it's funny because you look at Brissett and you're like 3 touchdowns. Oh, this must have been a really high scoring game. No, you look at the rest of the receiving numbers and no one even got over 50 yards. Yet he had 3 touchdowns. It's kind of bizarre in that way.
And then they just spread the ball around a lot, throwing it. Hilton only had 4 for 43, but gets a touchdown to make it worthwhile. And Ebron 3 for 25, but gets a touchdown. So
yeah, and Paris Campbell, the rookie, gets his first touchdown. Yeah.
And then on the Titan side of things, Mariota's just not that great for fantasy.
Okay, first of all, this makes me feel better too, because there was a moment last week when I was like, man, I really had hated Mariota, and I was like, did he really make a big step forward and I'm not seeing it? No, the answer is no, he did not.
Derrick Henry, solid, 81 yards rushing, got a touchdown. He's solid. He's a you put him in your lineup every week. He's probably better than we ranked him, I would think, at this point, but he's not, I mean, he's still not amazing. He's a good running back too. He's a good number 2. Very good number 2.
And they finally did what we were hoping they were going to do last year when Deion Lewis only got 3 carries. So, I mean, Derrick Henry is just going to get all the rushing at the moment. So, yeah, he's a very safe person to put in there, and you just hope that the touchdowns continue.
And then receiving, Corey Davis it's just not happening. He's the next Devontae Parker.
Well, yeah, I mean, no one's going to break out.
It's not happening.
There's
just Delaney Walker. I got some hate for having Delaney Walker lower in my ranks. It wasn't even that low, but it's just what's going to happen sometimes with the Titans. So just, not great. Patriots 43-0 over Miami. Wow, that was, I guess, expected, right?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. But, okay, and this kind of brings me to the big... There's 2 losers this week, and there was 1 big winner, and the big winner happens to be in this game. And if you started the Patriots defense, you got a huge boost. They just won buck wild. I mean, it's starting to get where you feel bad for Miami.
This is
because I mean, the Patriots put up multiple touchdowns through their defense. It's almost hard to watch.
Go get the defense playing the Dolphins and play them. That's what you do.
100%.
That's what I did in our league. I picked them up last night. Actually, I picked the Cowboys up. Who played?
Cowboy for next week.
I picked them up before this week. It actually played. So I
Very
think
good. I was going to say you did this strategy. I'm trying to think who it was for. You did this strategy. Was it last year or 2 years ago when you? I'm trying to think. It must have been the Browns though at the time.
It works.
Maybe it was, and it did work every time. I mean, you saw it coming, and you're like, "Oh, he's just picking up every team." And it didn't even matter if they were in the top 75% of defenses, he would grab them, and it worked. So just keep that in mind when you see a team struggling like this. It doesn't really matter who you're throwing out there.
Yeah, I'm in a league where I had the Patriots defense this week, and they scored 48 points.
Oh my God! What? I don't even know how that's possible. What kind of bonuses are you getting?
I have no idea, but whatever it is, it's too much. No defense should score that much. Sony Michel did fine. We expected him to be decent in this matchup. It wasn't spectacular at all, but it was a good fantasy game. And then James White he kind of disappointed people that played him. Except for the touchdown, I guess he salvaged it, but it wasn't a great day. It was only 29 yards. And then he gets the touchdown. Still not great, but okay. Josh.
Well, surprisingly, the passing game wasn't anything prolific. They didn't have to. Exactly. But they did get Antonio Brown acclimated right away. They threw it to him. Obviously, that's going to be the big story you see on ESPN and everywhere. He caught the touchdown. The first drive, I think they threw it to him 2 or 3 times. So I guess, I'm not taking too much away from this. I would have loved to see a little more out of Josh Gordon, but they got up so quickly that it didn't even matter. So this is kind of the worry with the Patriots or any good team at the time too, because Tom Brady could have had a field day. He could have broke records probably if he wanted to, but he got 2 touchdowns with 264, and they were just like, all right, we're done.
And there's literally nothing to talk about with the Dolphins. I don't care about them whatsoever.
No, I mean, is there anyone that you could? No.
So
would you even roster anyone?
I mean, I would be fine with you dropping anybody. There was earlier today or last night, whenever there was the thing that they were looking to trade Kenyon Drake or something, and then I was hearing these Instagram things, people were saying, "Well, pick up Kalen Ballage, pick up a lot, whatever the heck his name is, I don't even care, it doesn't matter."
Yeah, Ballage. Yeah. Exactly, it doesn't matter.
Pick him up, and if Drake, I don't care if Drake gets traded. I'm not playing him. You're not playing him. You can't play anybody in this team.
No,
they're terrible,
dude. They're not going to run the ball. They're never going to be
drop the ball.
So Williams on this team, he's kind of interesting, like maybe next year when they try to start getting it together, an interesting talent. The one that really surprised me, and this is just I think this might be the end of my envisioning that he could possibly make a return to the never glory that he had, but Devontae Parker had 7 targets and didn't catch one of them.
Crazy.
I'm like, I don't even know. Like, it really is sad to
I've never
watch.
seen that. Yeah, just don't play any of the Dolphins. Just don't play them. It's terrible. Oh, okay. Bills beat the Giants 28-14. Giants aren't very good, but
No, they're
Saquon's
bad.
good. But for the Bills, Josh Allen, he gets good fantasy days. He got a rushing touchdown, passing touchdown, 250 yards passing. He's just a pretty good fantasy option. Like, he's a better fantasy option than he is player. It's just
exactly. Yeah, that's the kind of the note to take away from this. But I think if they're playing a sub 500 team, Josh Allen actually is a pretty decent
I
play.
think so too.
He's a good streaming option.
He's the one, though, that could blow up in your face and do nothing. That you just beware of that.
Absolutely.
It could easily happen. But
and
I'll say the running game, I told you guys Frank Gore wasn't going away.
no, 19 carries.
He's not going anywhere.
But you start wondering, though, because Singletary is looking like the real deal. And
now the injury concern here now. I don't know exactly what it was, but let me see if I get an update here quick.
I was going to say, assuming that it's nothing serious.
We'll see. I'm trying to get an update.
6 carries for 57 yards. That's a 9.5 average with the touchdown. His long was only 20.
Yep.
So, I mean, once again, looking good.
It's a hamstring injury for Singletary, so he should. It's not. It doesn't seem serious, but you know how those things can linger. So they're not going to.
That's very true.
The thing is, though, too, with a rookie like that, they're not going to just press him into action when they don't need to, and run it too much with him because of that. But he's been good. They're not going to press. They're not going to. Oh, but Frank Gore, are you gonna? I think he's going to make my waiver wire list. It's sad. But how does he not?
Yeah, I know. I mean, some people need a running back. You can play him. It's fine, especially if he gets in the end zone. I don't know. That won't be an every week thing. But right now, if you're going to give him 19 carries, I mean.
So receiving Cole Beasley, 4 for 83. He's been solid. And then John Brown, 7 for 72. It's solid. Those guys are going to be, they're usable, I would say. Zay Jones is non-existent. So.
No, those are the only 2 guys. And I was actually hoping that Cole Beasley would get more targets. I mean, he got 4 targets and he caught all 4 of them for 83 yards. That looked nice, but I think that, I don't know. They won. They're 2-0. So, I mean, they don't have to take my advice. But, yeah, John Brown getting 8 targets, it's nice. Those 2 guys are interesting. I'm probably not starting either one of them or really targeting them, but I continue to look at them, especially Beasley, because John Brown is probably going to be picked up. But
then for the Giants, Saquon's really good.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He just is. Like, if even can be this good on a team that's just not good, it's pretty impressive. And then, Evan Ingram, he salvaged his day there too. At one point, he wasn't looking very good. It was sometime in the second half. I remember seeing the stat line. He had like 3 catches for 4 yards or something, and he turned it around. Made it better for PPR, better standard, not really good, but other than that, there's nothing here.
No, there's nothing. There is absolutely nothing. And the big takeaway for this game, besides for Barkley is amazing or whatever, but Evan Ingram in a game where I feel like without Sterling Shepard, like he should be by far the number 1 guy, and they probably obviously focused on him. But I'm surprised that the Bills were able to take him away or out of the game almost entirely for the first 3 quarters. That's worrisome because I think this could have been like the marquee game for him. Like, even if no one's around, I'm going to put up numbers. I'm going to do okay. And like you said, like Craig said, he did salvage it with a 33-yard catch. And that's only for tight ends numbers, though. Like, if you were only going yardage, 4.8 points, you'd be very bummed. So I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed with Ingram. He's obviously fine. You're going to start him every week, but this could have been so much better for him.
And then next game, we got Seahawks 28, Pittsburgh 26. So all the people that were telling you not to draft Russell Wilson because all Seahawks are going to do is run the ball, this is why you draft Russell Wilson, right? He's good.
We got him in so many leagues. It's so beautiful.
You got him so late because he's good. 29 to 35, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. It's great. That's a great game. And then, running the ball, they did fine. They just didn't go too crazy with it. And Penny, we talked about Rashad Penny a little bit, and he is going to be involved, it looks like. And looked pretty decent. Carson was,
he was fine. Yeah. He really was. He was fine.
And then Tyler Lockett, he wasn't involved last week. only had 1 catch. And this week, hey, 12 targets, 10 catches for 79 yards. That's a weird line for Tyler Lockett. 10 for 79.
I was going to talk about a correction, like a course correction. I think that Seattle was just
get
like,
him the ball, get him the ball.
we have no one else to throw to. Like, why aren't we throwing to Lockett more? And Metcalf, I know that he was on my list of, kind of league winners. Like halfway through, I think he was going to be worth something. But I think he's kind of ahead of the curve. He only caught 3, but 61 yards with the touchdown is definitely someone to keep an eye on. Obviously, I have him on my roster for a bunch of teams. Look, Lockett's the only guy there. They're still throwing the ball. I mean, it is very, very intriguing if he smartens up and he continues to learn. I think DK Metcalf could be a huge add.
I think he's a star. I really do. I mean, it's only 3 for 61 and a touchdown, but I think this guy's a star.
Yeah.
And I tried to get him from week last week.
Yeah, you did. You probably would have too if it wasn't for the Thursday night game.
It didn't really change that trade. I actually would not want to do that now because of Singletary, and getting hurt. But I think Metcalf's a star. I really do. I mean, maybe he doesn't put it all together this year, but he's going to be. If it's not this year, it's going to happen. I think.
And they're looking at him to be that true number 1 wide receiver because Lockett, he's a tremendous wide receiver. He really is, but he obviously doesn't fit the bill of the tall guy that can kind of do it all.
No, I know. Yeah, he just.
Actually, the other question, just real quick, because Dissly, the tight end for Seattle, actually had a stat line of 5 catches for 50 yards and 2 touchdowns. Obviously, the 2 touchdowns really props him up, but where does this put him as far as the thin tight end list?
Because it isn't that big. I think he's going to make the waiver wire list as well as a pickup. Okay. And just in case,
that's what I thought.
If you need a tight end, he's an option obviously in the red zone for him right now. So that's if all you need to do as a tight end is catch touchdowns to be relevant.
Exactly. And I mean, that's what literally what we were always talking about. Like after the top 5, and now it's even shorter because of Hunter Henry getting hurt and so
OJ
forth.
Howard not being good.
Exactly. So after that, I mean, really it's touchdown based. And I grabbed Ebron real late in a bunch of them, and he caught a touchdown today. And obviously I was assuming luck would be there. But if you catch a touchdown, your tight end situation will be fine. And it looks right now like he obviously is in a prime spot to catch touchdowns, especially in the red zone for this team.
And then Pittsburgh here. Actually, before we jump, speaking of catching touchdowns as a tight end, Vance McDonald got 2. Which he only had 7 catches for 38 yards, but the touchdowns make him relevant. So, hey, there's that. But so Ben Roethlisberger's hurt. Don't have any clue what the status of that is. But Mason Rudolph was, just pretty much did what Ben probably could have done anyway. It wasn't that much worse. He was fine, but
no, yeah, he was fine. He was kind of impressive as far as just getting thrown into the game. And against Seattle, that's obviously not the easiest game to be thrown into.
Yep. And then,
but you were hoping for a little more production, obviously.
So James Conner, I had hesitations on him, and this is it right here. I mean, he got the touchdown to make it a better day, but 11 for 33 before he was injured. I don't think he's had a 100-yard game since about week 8 of last year. I don't know if he's for real. I don't think he's for real. I really don't. I just don't. And now the injury, I'm not sure what that is yet, but man, I'm not confident in James Conner at all. I'm happy I have I guess I do have James Conner in 1 league. That was a keeper league, but I wouldn't be confident in him. I'd be picking up Jalen Samuels if he's out there right now. And not saying he's going to be great, but I think he's going to get a shot. Maybe even Benny Snell. Junior 1 carry. He's had 1 carry in his NFL career for 23 yards. Man, the Pittsburgh team, a little worrisome. How do you feel about Juju? I know you're a big Juju guy. So 5 for 84.
I'm still fine on Juju. He'll get his because he is very good. He's the number 1. I mean, even with this, Rudolph coming in, so obviously they don't really have as much of a rapport as Roethlisberger does with him. But 5 catches for 84 yards. I mean, that makes me happy as far as like your number 1 quarterback goes down and you still put up a decent day. Juju is probably the only Steeler that I'm still buying at the moment. I mean, and that's saying quite a bit because I'm kind of with you. I mean, if you have James Conner, you're probably playing him. But I have hesitation about this whole situation right now. And especially we'll figure out, what the deal with Roethlisberger is. But I mean, I guess the only upside would be if Rudolph is the starter. I still believe in Juju for the most part. And then maybe James Washington on like a kind of a find out basis just because they played in college together would be an interesting one. But even in this game, he only was 2 for 23. So the whole offense, I'm really iffy about them right now.
How about Dallas, Washington? Dallas wins 31-21. I think Dallas is actually a pretty good team.
Okay. And, we were kind of talking about the guys that we got right. I do have to, for everyone said that, and we get this about every single player pretty much, but when they're like, you're going to rue the day that you put blah, blah, blah so low. But Prescott came up quite a few times and we were like, yeah, he's good, but will he ever, what is he going to do? He's been pretty impressive. I mean, he's been on the money. I mean, he's been incredibly efficient, and throwing up 3 touchdowns along with Zeke being able to run for over 100 yards is no small feat. The fact that the rushing and the receiving are going so well together, I'm buying into Dallas, where I'm kind of like, I'm going away from Steelers. I'm buying in.
I am too. I moved Dak this week. He was ranked 6th already at quarterback for me, and that's actually going to prove to be slightly low. So, I mean, I ranked Dak Prescott ahead of Aaron Rodgers this week. As crazy as that might feel, and it was the right move. And I think he's good. I mean, and Zeke did his normal Zeke thing. He looked great, and it's just I think this is a good team. And Amari Cooper, though, Amari Cooper's good thing he got that touchdown, I guess, because he other than that only 4 for 44, Gallup 6 for 68, and I just got a little update. He's going to get an MRI tomorrow, so. That's not good. But Devin Smith, 3 for 74 and a touchdown, gets that big touchdown. It's spread out a lot there, though. So they're not really, there's no one's really majorly stepping up here, but it's just going to be a good offense. So I really do think people dropped Tony Pollard. I don't think you should drop Tony Pollard just in case. Because if Zeke goes down, I still think this offense can be good enough, and Tony Pollard will be a good player to have. So I'd go pick him back up.
And Jason Witten, the old man, catches another touchdown for 2 weeks in a row.
Of course.
I mean, for tight ends, they're all the same stat line. It's like he's 4 for 25 and a touchdown. It literally comes into a touchdown. So it's good to see that from him. Who doesn't like Jason Witten?
And then Washington side, Peterson, 10 for 25 and a touchdown. Didn't really do much. He's, I'm just still disappointed in Geis getting hurt. Sucks. But not much from Peterson there. Chris Thompson, he has 5 catches for 48 yards, so he's a little better in PPR. I think he's going to be, borderline playable in standard, I would say. I don't think Peterson, Peterson has left in him. So we'll see. Thompson will have to be used. And then Terry McLaurin, I really think this guy's good. And 5 for 62 and a touchdown, so another solid game. But other than that, but that's not even, I like Terry McLaurin, but I'm not even, you're not throwing him in your lineup, really. And Thompson, it's just, you're not really playing anybody from Washington.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I am very interested in McLaurin only because he's so young, especially if you're in a keeper league. I mean, he looks like the real deal, and I mean, he's so young, and he's playing with Case Keenum, which he's fine, but the fact that he was able to assert himself so quickly into that offense and get touchdowns and kind of do all the things you need to do. I mean, he was targeted 9 times a day as a rookie. I mean, it's pretty impressive. So he is good, but like you said, obviously I still want to see more from him. And obviously he was already picked up in many leagues last week because of his huge performance. So we'll find out. But yeah, Washington is, they're going to be a decent team. Like they're going to be, they're 0-2 right now, and I think they're going to lose a lot more games, but they're always in the game. And Case Keenum is going to be good, but he's never going to be great. So they're probably going to have a bad record, but just okay, guys. Like I don't see myself really starting or going after anyone.
Then Baltimore beats Arizona 23-17. Lamar Jackson he's just good. He's good. He's good.
Oh, I love having this guy so much. I'm so glad I picked him up on so many of my teams.
I mean, pretty much, I got him in not every single one, but majority of my teams. I don't have him against you, which sucks, but I have him on the majority of my teams, and this is why. He threw for 272 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then he runs for 120 yards. It's ridiculous. This guy's good.
Yeah, it's a cheat code. It really is.
That's what we kept saying. He kept all preseason. He kept moving up further and further and further up our draft boards. He kept doing it, and this is why. I just knew he was going to be good. And then Mark Ingram didn't really get much going today, which, you know what? A lot of times he'll get like a goal line touchdown. That's what you need for him to be good. But sometimes this might happen if I don't really know. I didn't watch much of this, but Cardinals keying on him maybe, it just freed up Lamar Jackson to run for 120 yards. So
yeah, and he still got 77 yards. So it's not like, Mark Ingram wasn't your RB1. He was still fine to play. Yep. Like, he didn't ruin your day.
And then Mark Andrews is looking great as if you picked him up as a late tight end pickup. And I feel like we failed people here because we didn't talk about him enough at all in the preseason.
No, we really didn't.
I picked him in a couple leagues, but I didn't talk about him enough. I didn't see this kind of performance coming. 8 for 112 and a touchdown. He's had 2 great games in a row. And then Marquise Brown, 8 for 86. He kind of showed that last week's not a fluke, really. He's going to be there. He looks good, too. He looks quick.
Especially, yeah, he really does look the part, like we say. But, I laugh because everyone was kind of saying that if he doesn't get the target share that, or the same target share that he did week 1, the question was, would he be able to keep that pace? And everyone's like, absolutely not. Well, I think the Ravens answered that question by giving him 13 targets in the second day out. Like, that's the most comfortable. If you picked him up and you just see this, you're like, yeah, they're going to use him all the time. That speed eventually would pay dividends. That's a great waiver claim or draft, whatever you did. I'm really excited to see this kid keep going because they're using him perfectly.
And then Arizona, Kyler throws for 349 yards, but no touchdowns. He's going to have up and down days. This wasn't great for him, but still 349 yards. He'll be tough to start sometimes. You don't know exactly what you're going to get. He'll be better, I think, as the year keeps going. But David Johnson, 7 for 14 and a touchdown. That's it. Yeah, that's at least that touchdown saved him. But other than that, wasn't much. But nice. He's Christian Kirk with a big game, 6 for 114. And then Larry Fitzgerald's he's not going away.
I love that guy.
5 for 104. He's not going away. And this is a interesting. I don't feel confident in any of these guys though. It's like I just don't.
Yeah, I don't yet either, but I think we were pretty spot on, and this could obviously change, and maybe it'll be sped up a little quicker, but the whole reason we didn't want to draft Kyler Murray so early is because we were like, he's a rookie. It's going to take him a little while to get his feet under him, but we both believe in the talent. And obviously, he did a lot of good things today. Like, it was a vast improvement from week 1 to week 2, which is what you want to see. Eventually I think that the rushing will come. He had 3 rushes for 4 yards. So I think people assumed he was going to have a little more success in that arena. But he didn't make the big mistake, and he really spread the ball out. And the other one to notice is he was able to get the ball to Christian Kirk, who is the other guy that you want to be looking at this team, because as obviously one gets better, the other one will. So I think that is going to be a very healthy relationship. The big question is Johnson. Obviously, he did hurt his wrist today as well. So obviously that probably affected it. But what do you see for him moving forward? Because obviously he was a high draft pick, and very difficult to move those guys.
Yeah, I think you just got to keep him and play him. But there might be somebody out there that really loves David Johnson yet and thinks he's getting a deal, so you get him. I just don't know what to think from him. He's going to have good games.'s going to have bad games. I think I would try to. I honestly would try to trade him. I think there's somebody out there desperate enough. Shoot, if somebody offered me David Johnson right now in our league, I was
about to say.
I'm probably taking him. So when I'm starting, I don't even know how I'm going to have a win this week and one of the top scorers when I have Mark Ingram and Chris Thompson as my 2 backs. But that's what I do. I just find a way, right?
Yeah, annoyingly so. Yep.
But let's go to Houston, Jacksonville. Houston wins by 1 here. Jacksonville goes for 2 to try to win it, and they don't get it. But this was funny. Deshaun Watson didn't play great at all. I got yelled at on Instagram for ranking Lamar Jackson ahead of Deshaun Watson this week in my ranks. And, well, I guess I got the last laugh.
Yeah, no kidding. So Jacksonville's their D and their secondary is still very, very good. So that's what to take away, because Deshaun Watson is an extremely good quarterback, and they made him look average at
And
best.
in turn, it made it so DeAndre Hopkins 5 for 40. Just that's going to be not going to do much. That's going to be one of the worst ones for the year for him. This is just playing Jacksonville. I'm not worried about this. They're going to bounce back. They're going to be fine. I guess the biggest takeaway for me is Carlos Hyde in how many carries he got. 20 carries and 90 yards. That'd be 4.5 yards per carry. That's not bad. I thought we'd see more from Duke Johnson. It's just not happening. I'm wrong there.
Yeah, the split being 20-6 is pretty alarming.
I'm just wrong. I think I'm going to be wrong on Duke Johnson.
Yeah, right now. I mean, I gotta call it. I think we are. I know it's only been 2 weeks or 1 week fully, but that is very disheartening.
Then Jacksonville side of things, Minshew's he's decent enough. You know what I mean? He's not great, but he's okay, I guess. But Leonard Fournette's not doing much with this. They're not obviously respecting Minshew at all because they're just going to stuff Fournette. No. I mean, now we're on 3 years of Leonard Fournette. Are you sure he's not Trent Richardson?
Well, no, he definitely is not. He's just stuck on an offense.
Are you sure?
I mean, luckily he got 4 catches for 40 yards as well. So he still put up 87 yards, which once again doesn't ruin your week. Obviously, it's nothing pretty about it. But, you have a backup quarterback come in and you don't expect him to load up the box. Like, come on.
And then the receiving side of things, I mean, there's a lot of guys.
Dude, DJ, yes, absolutely. But the only one that I'm looking at, honestly, and D.D. Westbrook had a very bad performance, but Shark.
I mean,
once again, he's a very athletic, lean wide receiver that you're kind of wondering if he was ever going to take the step. And the last 2 weeks, he's been playing pretty darn good. And he did this with the backup quarterback. So you have to like where that is going. So he's an interesting prospect.
Then Chiefs beat the Raiders basically with just a second quarter.
I was going to say shocking.
But all they did, 4 touchdowns in the second quarter. That's it. But Mahomes, 443 yards and 4 touchdowns. And
he's so good. It's almost annoying to watch.
Well, and now it's Demarcus Robinson, 6 catches for 172 and 2 touchdowns. I do not know what to make of that at all. I have seriously no clue. And
I don't think that you're not going to know.
No, I need it. If we see it again next week, that's the one thing I really got to see it. But he's definitely a pickup. He's just got to find out. And then Hardman, 4 for 61 and a touchdown. He had a 70-yard touchdown bomb called back, I think, with a holding. That would have been, they would have been massive. Travis Kelce looks great. Screw you, Sammy Watkins, for making me buy in.
I knew it. I was just waiting for this to happen. Once again, 49 yards is not what you want to see, but he had 13 targets, which makes me feel a little bit better about it because even I raised him up in my rankings, which is...
He was like 9th for me.
I swear I would never do this again.
I know. He made me do it.
Yes, but this is what happens, but it just shows, man, anyone that goes in this offense, especially if you have speed, you will be good, but it's going to be insanely hard to pick. Especially with Tyreek out of the lineup, it's going to be so difficult to figure out who is going to be that guy. So I don't know what do you do at this point? Do you just start multiple and then just know one is going to blow up, or
if you have, honestly, if you have one of the guys, I think you start Hardman, I think you start all of them. I might start Demarcus Robinson next week. I don't know. I think it's worth a shot. I don't know about the running game though. So.
No, I don't either.
I don't even want to comment.
It was bad.
I'll just wait next week and see what happens.
Exactly. I have no idea. They can throw all day. So this is what I will say. This is why we think Williams was so much safer than McCoy, though, because he catches the ball still. He salvaged a week somewhat, not even, kind of, with 3 catches for 48 yards. So as long as they don't, they tried to throw it to McCoy and it didn't go anywhere. As long as that continues, obviously Williams will be the safer back to play. But, I guess they didn't have to run it, so they didn't.
And then the Raiders side of things, Josh Jacobs is pretty good. He looks pretty solid, I would say.
I think if you bought into the rookie, and we always worry about them, but he really does look good. Athletic, quick, he makes sharp decisions. I'm actually kind of a fan of him after watching the first couple of weeks. He really grew on me.
And then Darren Waller's he looks like a good tight end pickup. It wasn't amazing today, but he's involved, and that's all you need with a tight end right now. So he gets a touchdown, and he'd be, that much better, right? And then Tyrell Williams, solid. he went out with an injury at one point. I never heard what happened after that, so we'll have to wait and see about that. But that's about it, though. It's Waller and Williams and Jacobs. You're playing those three. I think you can play them, and not that exciting though. I think Jacobs will get better. All right, what do we got next? Bears Broncos.
And might be the most fascinating game of the week.
There's no way they got that.
It was so much fun to watch.
There's no way they got that timeout. I don't believe
if you're
that.
a Broncos fan, if you should be livid if you're a Broncos fan, because first of all, that hit on the quarterback by Chubb and they called that roughing the passer was the biggest BS call ever.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he wasn't even done. I mean, it was still in his hand pretty much when he hit him.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
I don't know. That was ridiculous.
And then it just was. And there's no way the Lions would have got that timeout call. And I just believe
Exactly.
me, it just wouldn't have happened. We know how that works.
Yeah.
So for Chicago, Trubisky.
Ugh. Yeah. To be fair, Denver does have a very good defense.
This was to be expected, I guess. But
so my question is, I'm going to go right past Trubisky, but Montgomery, 18 carries for 62 yards, so that's 3.4 yards per clip. He did get a touchdown that was barely in.
Yeah.
What do you actually think about him going forward? Is this because Denver is actually good?
Yeah,
or do you think he was a little overhyped?
I'm going to wait and see. I don't want to. I do think at least Chicago realized he's better than Mike Davis. That's
good
for sure. And I think Denver is just a tough team to run against anyway. So I think he'll be fine. I'm not going to read too much into this for Chicago. It's just it's a tough matchup. It's just Anthony Miller. I just think the guy's not healthy. It's the only thing I can understand with this one.
Yeah, he's kind of off my. I mean, I really like the talent. I think at some point he will be good, but I'm pretty much off of him because when you look at even Allen Robinson, 4 for 41, the next guy below that is 2 for 24. You just know that their passing game is not where it needs to be.
And then Broncos, it is a split between Freeman and Lindsey.
Yep, it is. I didn't think it was going to be. I still like Lindsey better because I think he's better in the passing game.
Hey,
I know he didn't look like him this week. I know.
5 catches for 48 yards for Freeman.
I know. And he had 7 targets, the same exact thing as Lindsey.
It's just a true.
I could absolutely be wrong, but I think with the game and the way it went and Denver being so good, you need the battering ram and you didn't need any wiggle. He was just, both of them were getting hit and Freeman's just better at absorbing contact. So I don't want to read too much into it, but hey, right now it looks like I'm wrong as far as I thought Lindsey was still going to have, a leg up on Freeman, but right now it's not looking like it.
Emmanuel Sanders looked really good today. So this is going to be, I think, receiving wise, it's going to be week to week who's best in this receiving game. I don't think there's a clear. I mean, Sutton was obviously the best last week. Sanders this week. Maybe Deshaun Hamilton shows up one week. I don't know. It's going to be all over the board, I think. We got to see a little bit more before I trust any of it. Then Saints, Rams. Losing Drew Brees does not help the Saints.
No, and when I had mentioned there was one winner and that was playing the Patriots defense and 2 losers, it was the fact, and I got burned by both of this, by the way. I guess that's what happens when you have a lot of different fantasy teams. But the fact that Breeze left so early and the fact that Roethlisberger did, if you're playing those guys, it just completely screwed you. And this one was terrible because it affected the rest of the team so much as well. They only put up 9 points. I know the Rams are good, but I feel like this had a big effect on Kamara and also, sadly enough, I think Mike Thomas to a certain extent. But even though he put up good numbers again.
He's still 10 for 89, just not big yards and touchdowns. But if Drew Brees is going to be out an extended period of time, I'm just worried about the offense as a whole. I think Kamara is good enough to be fine, but man, I think maybe if Brees is out, Bridgewater gets a week of working with the starters, it could be a lot better. Bridgewater's not terrible. I don't think he's great at all. I've never thought he was overhyped in Minnesota even back then before he got hurt. So this is just a wait and see. It really is. It is. It's don't really know yet.
I hope that Breeze plays, but this is my prediction. If he's out, say, for a couple of weeks, I do think that Bridgewater can be fine enough, and I think that they'll probably end up running the ball more, which will be good for Latavius Murray and Kamara owners. But I also think you're going to start seeing a lot more interesting play calling with Taysom Hill in the backfield playing quarterback. So I think it's just going to turn into a much different offense than what we saw before.
And then with the Rams, I mean, Goff got the rushing touchdown to make it not a bad game for him. It was decent. Cooper Kupp looked awesome on that touchdown. Or not the almost touchdown. The one he got called back. Right. He looked fully healthy there, 5 for 120. Cooks gets the 3 for 74 and a touchdown. Robert Woods really isn't involved.
Yeah. And it's what we kind of, I mean, I won't say Woods not being involved, but it is what we predicted as far as kind of Cooks being the safe guy and then Kupp being the one that you kind of want to get. I'm really excited that his knee looks so healthy this early in the season. He's one guy that I really, really like in the fact that he had 9 targets. But obviously it was bolstered by that 66-yard run where he's stiff arming and doing all this stuff. But I think that's just what's to come. I honestly think that Cooper Kupp, as he gets more confidence in that repaired knee, he's going to be something special this year. I still believe that.
And then speaking of knees, Todd Gurley, he's fine. He looks like Todd Gurley at times. It's just very clear though that there is going to be just Malcolm Brown drives. Where it's just Brown's the one in there. It doesn't even matter if they get to this is where I actually don't like this the most is when they get to the goal line. I expected Gurley to get in there, and he's just not all the time. If Malcolm Brown's the guy in on that drive, he's going to be the guy in at the goal line.
Yeah, I think the big thing here is the fact that they were, I don't want to say they weren't blowing them away by any means, but they felt very in control. So they felt okay not using Gurley, and they used him around the goal line. And he got in for a touchdown. He looked fine. 16 carries for 63 yards and a touchdown, plus obviously whatever he caught, which only 3 for 4, so nothing. But I think if it was a closer game, he would have gotten those other goal line carries, and I think he probably would have gotten in one more time, just how dynamic he is. So I think that's the big difference is this year they're going to put him on a pitch count when they don't need him, and this is where it hurts you. He was fine. He had a good game for you, but it could have been a lot better, and last year it probably would have been.
Funny thing is, the people that were down on Gurley will use this as an example, and yet he still outscored Kamara, McCaffrey, so...
Right, exactly. It's not an argument for why you shouldn't have drafted him in the first round because obviously whatever. But I do get their point. I mean, this is the worry. But hey, Malcolm Brown looked fine out there, but
he's not. Yeah,
he's not Gurley. Yeah.
And then one final game, which is not quite wrapped up yet here. Falcons, Eagles. Falcons just took the lead here on a 54-yard bomb to Julio. So. Let's look at this game. What do we have right now? I'll have the game up. I'm on the game tracker. What do we got? Falcons are Eagles about to lose.
So it's 24-20. Yep. We'll find out. It's 4th and 8, and they have the ball. So we'll find out here in a moment. But the big one is Carson Wentz. He struggled early, threw 2 picks to Trufant as I was watching it earlier. Kind of came back around, but they never really got it going. I think Adler is the only one that really stood out. He had 8 catches for 107 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, exactly.
Alshon got hurt. Deshaun Jackson got hurt. It was just a lot of injuries there, and then their ground game just can't get going.
No, and I mean, what do you only 10 catches, so I'm sorry, only 10 rushes, but Miles Sanders, 10 for 28 yards, obviously nothing special, and Howard didn't do anything either.
No.
I mean, do you think that this team is just not going to be able to run the ball, or do you think that this was... Because Falcons are not known for their defense, let's be honest. I know they had a lot of injuries, but they shouldn't be able to do this.
Dalvin Cook ran all over them, so...
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. They might just not be a good running team right now. And then, so Falcons side of things here. Matt Ryan threw 3 picks, but he did get 3 touchdowns, as well. And then 320 yards. So... okay, right? Devontae Freeman is not getting going on the ground.
He just doesn't look like himself. I'll be honest. He doesn't look like he's fully back. I actually do worry about him. He had 42 yards receiving, but I have him in a couple of the leagues because that's just where he fell to me in the snake drafts. But I'm not feeling confident at all. And I don't know what you can get for him at the moment either, because obviously he was hurt last year. There's not a whole lot of heat on him. I don't know. It's worrisome.
It is. But the two receivers here, Julio and Calvin Ridley, are both good. Julio's
all day I'm starting them. All day.
Julio's really good. So much for not being able to catch touchdowns, right?
Two touchdowns in this game, yeah.
Calvin Ridley's he's been pretty solid through 2 games here. He didn't really do much in the second half today. Most of his damage was in the first half, but looks like Falcons are going to get this win here, aren't they? Looks like the Eagles are short of the first down.
Is that where that? Okay.
Fourth, it looks like they were just short of it. So it looks like Falcons are going to get the win. But all right, I think that's going to do. I think we got all the games in there. That'll do it for week 2, except for one more. We got Browns Jets tomorrow night. Hopefully Browns figure out what they're doing.
No kidding. Well, I have Njoku in quite a few leagues, and he can help me win quite a few games. So I'm rooting for him, and let's hope that they can get back on track. I don't know. You have Odell, so I think everyone has some Brown on their team, and Chubb. I mean, all over the place. We really need them to do well.
I feel confident that I already have my win wrapped up, so I don't have to worry about Odell.
Yeah.
But it feels good.
Actually, I do too in the main league, so I'm okay with it.
It's a good week. So, all right, that'll do it. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.